Let's go now to Fritz Springmeier, author of Bloodlines, the Illuminati. I want to get his take. You can buy the book. We are the ones that put it back into print. It's available at InfoWarsStore.com. It's excellent. I didn't believe a lot of it when I first read it 16, 17 years ago, and so much of it's turned out to be mainstream news. But I meant to get him on for a full hour, but we pushed him back, and then he had Skype problems. So we're going to get him back on again, I guess, in a few weeks. 3 must be the charm someday, but we had him on the nightly news last week with Leanne Magadoo. What do you make, though? Do you disagree with me, or what can you add about how the globalists create the crisis or exacerbate it, put cancer viruses in the vaccine, give over 100 million people cancer through the polio vaccines? That was declassified in the 80s. People can pull that up. And then they raised hundreds of billions of dollars to fight cancer, but never find the cure. Fritz Springmeier, and cancer only skyrockets, up several thousand percentage points in adults, over 10,000 percentage points in pediatrics, in children. But no one dare ask why all this is happening. The answer is go jog and pay $100 to enter the jog, you know, the 5K or the 10K, and feel good about yourself, Fritz. While you give money to groups that are carrying out eugenics and funding Planned Parenthood and gun control groups. Fritz Springmeier.
The pattern, the way the elitists work, the way the Illuminati function, they've followed a pattern for the last century, and once you catch on to it, which you have, then it becomes a no-brainer. But most people are busy, you know, looking at the latest celebrity scandal or their football team, and just sit there and absorb whatever they're told by the mass media. But once you catch on and you can critically think, you start seeing things just like you've been telling people, and that is they create a problem and then they create the solution. But what we have with those solutions is they create a banner issue. For instance, sustainable development. Who doesn't want sustainable development? So under the disguise of sustainable development, we have Agenda 21. We're going to save the land. We're going to save women and children. And then they bring their agenda behind that.
They give themselves the moral high ground. We are saving the earth and prosperity and sustainability. Who's with us? Well, actually, you want to take my property and give it to yourself. Shut up, racist.
Right. So for like the Christians back in 1992, they do Evangelism 2000, which a Christian doesn't want to evangelize the entire world by the year 2000, but then they run their agenda. And behind Evangelism 2000, what did the Christians do? They went door to door like census takers and found out what religion everybody belonged to. So they were doing mapping for the New World Order. This is the kind of stuff that they do. And by
the way, you said that at the time, and even I rolled my eyes. Now it's public. They're clergy response teams, actual FBI paperwork and CIA paperwork. Not just megachurches. Most preachers now literally go to secret government meetings and are spying on everyone, and it's even mainstream news.
Exactly. You know, and so like under health care, which is another banner issue, who doesn't want health care? You know, who doesn't want to fight cancer? So then
you're not for starving children or not giving them medical treatment, are you?
So then they bring in the vaccines, and like you exposed on InfoWars, that one polio vaccine that they were giving in India paralyzed 48,000 children. And then they were giving a vaccine over there in Africa, and you exposed how that was paralyzing children. So this is all, a lot of what we're seeing is under the major agenda that the Illuminati have, and that's population reduction, or you can give it different names, you know, population stabilization, but the end result is they want to kill a lot of us. And so a lot of these agendas, or a lot of the things that we see happening, follow under their main goal, which is to reduce the world's population. And the ones that remain, they want to control. So you see, the second agenda that they have is mind control. So a lot of what we see happening is to control our minds. Now there's a scripture, John 7:42, or excuse me, John 7:24. Judge not according to appearance, but judge righteous judgment. And, you know, that's what you're doing. That's what a lot of other people like yourself are doing. That's what I'm doing. And that is we're setting aside judging by appearances, because if we look at appearances, like we've been discussing, oh, I want to save the land. Oh, I want health for everybody. I want, you know, but we have to judge righteously. What is the truth? It also tells us in the Word of God in 2 Thessalonians 2:10, it says the love of the truth is what's going to save us, not the truth. You know, I can hand you a Bible or I can hand you some research, but if you don't love the truth, you're just going to throw it away. And so what you've been trying to do, what I've been trying to do, is empower people, get them excited about the truth so that they love it and they want to do something about it. You know, and you and I can hand people facts and truth and information all day long, but until they get to the point that they love the truth, you know, it's not going to affect their lives. It's not going to save them. So this is what we have going on. You and I, we're trying to empower people. I'm trying to encourage people and trying to pull the mask off of all of these falsehoods, you know. And the people that you're talking about, you were talking about George Soros. You know, what I can contribute is he's Illuminati, you know. And then the Bill Gates Foundation, you were talking about that just recently. That's a foundation that the Illuminati worked through, you know. So where I come in to help what you're doing is that I, like you were saying, having researched the Illuminati, I come along and say, you see all these corporations, you see all these politicians, here's how they connect to the center of power, here's how they connect to the globalists, the elitists, the Illuminati. You know, so you look at like someone, Sir Jeremy Haywood, you know, he's the cabinet secretary over there in the United Kingdom. He's the prime advisor to the prime minister. He's Illuminati. We have all these Illuminati people salted through things. And then we got these little puppets like Obama, you know, that just do whatever they're told. And then, like you say, we got people like Al Gore running around. By
the way, that was an awesome puppet imitation. You just did. It looked like Team America or something. The way you did. Can you do that one more time? I like you, Gary. Incredible. Sorry, go ahead.
So what would you like to talk about? I mean,
well, I mean, there's so much to get into, and things got cut short again. We've had bad luck twice here with the Skype, but it looks great now. I wanted to get into some of the current topics. Let's talk about geopolitically. I know that the Illuminati comes out of the Babylonian and Egyptian mystery schools. It's systems of control, hidden knowledge. A lot of it was just pharmakia or engineering or hydrology. But then a lot of it is also social control, shrouded in ancient mysticism. But you can see the Illuminati system working worldwide. But there are 3 different competing predator systems within it. So I want you to spend some time on your view on who rules the earth geographically. I mean, you talk about the bloodlines of the Illuminati, some of these key families, but separately from that, you've got Russia. You've got geopolitically what's happening now. What's your view? I mean, how staged is it versus real conflict going on with Russia?
Well, the conflict with Russia, just like the Cold War on one level, is totally real. But there are some real hidden controls. There were hidden controls during the Cold War. There are hidden controls still intact in Russia. It's not like the Illuminati have no assets or no strings attached to what's going on in Russia. In fact, you'll find a lot of their corporations are deeply entrenched in the Russian economy. So,
well, most of them that came out in British lawsuit were actually Rothschild fronts.
Exactly. So people need to bear in mind that really what we're seeing at the top is a staged, scripted new Cold War. And they work off of controlled conflict. And what's going on for the Ukrainian people is real. I mean, I've talked to Ukrainians that are now American citizens, and their relatives are still back in Western Ukraine, and those people are suffering. Their suffering is real because of the things that have happened, you know, the gas being shut off, the economy's wound down, you know, there's no electricity, they're having problems getting food. I mean, just the basic essentials of life are now difficult for the Ukrainians, whether they're Western or Eastern.
And that's all because they didn't vote to join the EU.
Yeah, so that suffering is real. And so it's like in World War II. If you were a soldier fighting the Japanese, your suffering and your misery.
That's right, but the emperor didn't get in trouble.
I'm Darren McBreen, and these are some of the new items that are available now at InfoWarsShop.com.
Alert the public to Obama's blatant abuse of power with the new Obama t-shirt. Obama's Joker face on the front and come and take it on the back. It's time to publicly call him out for what he is, a tyrant. Defend the Second Amendment with our top seller Come and Take It t-shirts. And look at that, women's cut tank tops and t-shirts now available. Nice hat. Plus the Don't Tread on Me flag. And now you can become a micro distributor of the InfoWars magazine. Plus, get your own copy delivered right to your door each and every month. And if you're tired like I am of you and your family being exposed to polluted drinking water, get the Pro One high performance water filter. It gets rid of all pathogenic bacteria, cyst, fluoride, heavy metals, and numerous other contaminants.
So join the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.
New headlines are going up every few minutes at InfoWars.com. Be sure and scroll through the whole site. Ex-CIA official proposes assassination of Putin. In a recent op-ed, a former CIA official suggested the removal of President Vladimir Putin by assassination, if necessary, should be the primary objective of the Obama administration in its strategy for Ukraine. Herbert E. Meyer, who served as special assistant to the director of Central Intelligence under the Reagan administration, said the goal of the U.S. sanctions against Russia should be to get the Russians, who we've been keeping Putin in power, or tolerating Putin in power, to throw the knockout punch. And he goes, by that, a bullet in the back of his head would also be okay. So they're telling the Russians, kill him. Because Putin did arrest, I don't know, 6 or 7 oligarchs that turned out were basically Rothschild fronts. The Rothschilds sued over the claims, and it came out in court it was true. Look that up. Last year, the case settled. And the judge basically said, this suit that you brought proves everything against you. It proved what was claimed. So that's the big no-no. That's why they're always like, I bet Putin's got billions he stole. I bet. I'm not defending Putin. The point is that they want him out of there. And listen, the globalists might assassinate Obama, hypothetically, as a false flag to get a race war going. They got a lot of wild cards they can play. Fritz Springmeier, you agree with that statement?
Yeah, there's all kinds of wild cards, but I think that they've got their agenda pretty well under control, where they're not going to have to play too many wild cards. You know, going back to this whole thing about controlled conflict, they're creating all of these messes, but the solutions that they give us are taking us in a direction that they want to take us. You know, another way of describing it is Hegelian dialectics. And, you know,
perfect example is Syria creating ISIS. Now we've got to go back to the Middle East because of ISIS. Yeah,
well, you know, the United States supplied these groups that were fighting Assad. We supplied them with weapons and money, and then those weapons and money are now being used by ISIS then to become this powerful organization. So we created the problem that now that we have to go and bomb. So, yeah, it's the same thing. And once you get these problems going, they kind of they morph where they're almost out of control.
That's right. That's right. They just trigger a lot of stuff, or make something that's already happening worse.
Right. It reminds me you know, during the 90s, I was helping some men and women that wanted out of the Illuminati. They were under Illuminati mind control, so I was trying to deal with their trauma-based mind control. And anyway, where I'm going with this is they described some men and women, different individuals described to me Illuminati ceremonies where they would have gladiator fights to the death. They would have two people and they would the spectators would watch, but the gladiators that were fighting to the death couldn't see the people watching them, but because of the way the viewing windows were one way. But anyway, they love this conflict. They love to set set two sides.
They love to play with our world like it's their little toys.
Yeah,
treat us like pawns in chess. Wait till their judgment day comes. 5 more minutes with Fritz Springmeier. I'm out of time. I'll try to go to this caller on Ukraine as well. Bloodlines of the Illuminati. It'll blow your mind. How much of it's totally dead on? Who knows? Fritz believes he's telling the truth. A lot of it's documented. It's a page turner. InfoWarsStore.com. We just tweeted it out at Real Alex Jones. Ex-CIA official proposes assassination of Putin. It's on PrisonPlanet.com right now. Fritz Springmeier, I want to do a whole hour interview. It's good to do these in little installments. I want to do a whole hour the next couple of weeks with you. Specifically, or maybe we should even get you here to Austin to get into how the Illuminati works, how the general programming is going on through the television and the culture, because it's so obvious right now. And we have the famous quote of the current Attorney General saying to a big media group, let's brainwash the public. Let's just keep repeating our messages to get their guns. They don't even hide a lot of this now. It's like they admit they created ISIS, but then say, so what, we got to bomb them. Then they don't even really bomb them. They get ready to bomb the opposition. It's like they don't care anymore. It's like one giant group of the public's totally unawake. And then another big giant group of the public knows what's going on. I mean, it's just crazy. But I don't see things going well for them, though, because it's getting so obvious.
You make a good point that they're just getting in our face and saying, we're going to do this no matter what, and you can't stop us. You know, the Illuminati want Hillary to be our next president. We'll see how well that goes. I notice in the checkout stands, and they're getting her picture everywhere.
They just push her everywhere. It's just, and if you're against what she wants to do, you're against women.
Yeah, just like if you're against Obama, you're against blacks. You know, I mean, they play these silly games and people buy into the baloney.
Well, they use really simple psychology, and you can argue, well, the public's simple. But studies show the simplicity actually dumbs people down. The dumbing down of media dumbs you down.
Yeah, people aren't critically thinking.
Fritz, send me an email about topics you want to cover, because now you got good Skype. And I'm sorry again today you had Skype problems when we had some issues. I actually pushed you back a little bit because I forgot to go to calls. I apologize to Tasha and others. I'll have to go to them tomorrow if we're here tomorrow, Lord willing. I don't take anything for granted. Nightly News tonight will have a lot of info. We're going to have our reporters tomorrow reporting from the Devil Canyon nuclear power plant that even federal officials have said if there is a major breakdown there, or even an 8.0, it will cause a Fukushima-like level disaster. Why did they build it like that to begin with? Our reporters went to the local town there and went to their library and found the old articles with scientists warning about it as well. There's a bunch of reactors on the West Coast that are built on that. Let me ask Fritz that question briefly in the minute and a half we have left. Fritz, why do you think the elite build the reactors on fault lines and tsunami lines? I mean, I've looked at where reactors are. It seems like they build them only on fault lines.
Yeah, it's been an intentional thing to create these problems. Chernobyl, for instance, was the background to the Ukrainian problem that we have right now. Because of Chernobyl, the Ukrainians began to hate the Soviet government. And there was a group called Green World that started protesting. They felt like the Ukrainian genetics had been totally ruined because of the and that's an example of how that then led to Ukrainian sovereignty. Ukrainian sovereignty has then led to the Crimean thing. The Crimean thing then led to Eastern Ukraine. So it's like this, it all fits together. So yeah, I think it was intentional.
A lot of evidence was they knew it was going to blow up. I've seen PBS documentaries and would do nothing and then just programmed it basically to blow up.
Yeah. And so people that are in the know, that are like the programmers and stuff, they program these kind of events into the scripts in the minds of the mind-controlled slaves. So
yeah, that's what I'm seeing is now they're going to full mind control publicly with the predictive programming. We'll talk about it next week if you can do it. Full hour with Fritz Springmeier next week. Riveting. Get the book, InfoWarsStore.com. Great book, powerful, and also supports the transmission. Alex Jones here to break down some exciting developments in the area of research concerning supplemental iodine. It's nothing less than phenomenal. I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. And I used some of the mainline iodine supplements and they upset my stomach and I had some issues with it. Until I discovered a product being developed by Dr. Group, who I was already interviewing as an expert on my radio show, and I began taking the product before he actually rolled it out. You now know it as Survival Shield, true nascent iodine that your body can really absorb. Then, about a year ago, he said, listen, if you think this is powerful, I'm going to come out with rare earth, deep earth crystals that are incredibly powerful that no one else has as a source for their iodine from between 7,000 and 12,000 feet, literally drilled out of the ground. You put it on a hot plate and it turns into the pure gas. No one else has 99.99% pure iodine. And the results that I personally have had have been life-changing. I was over 270 pounds. And with the iodine, exercise, and better diet, I have lost now more than 50 pounds total, and I'm continuing to lose the weight. I have more energy, my libido, all this crap came out of my skin. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. And I know this for a fact. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. This is innovating. This is trailblazing. And the best part is it helps fund Infowars.com, the radio show, the TV show, the whole media operation promoting true libertarian ideas. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. Take advantage of this unprecedented 30% off Super Detox special at InfoWarsLife.com.